She whispered it like a secret she was ashamed of. No one ever chooses me. The man across the table froze. Then he did something no one expected. He pushed his chair back, looked her straight in the eyes, and said, "They didn't leave because of you. They left because you weren't meant to beg." Her breath caught, because in that moment, the black single father she barely knew was about to change her life forever. She didn't mean to say it out loud. Some words are never planned. They escape when the heart gets too tired of pretending. The cafe was warm, glowing with soft golden lights that reflected off the windows like tiny stars. Couples laughed quietly. A waiter passed by carrying plates of dessert. Everything about the place felt safe, normal, except Lily didn't feel safe at all. She sat straight in her chair, hands wrapped tightly around her coffee cup, even though it had already gone cold. Across from her sat a man she had met only 20 minutes ago, another blind date, another hopeful beginning she already felt slipping away. She had worn her favorite dress, not too bold, not too boring. The kind of dress meant to say, "I'm worth choosing," but she had worn that dress before, many times. Her date smiled politely, nodded at the right moments, and checked his phone when he thought she wasn't looking. Lily noticed. She always noticed. She had learned to read the signs early, the slight distance, the fading interest, the quiet pulling away before the goodbye. She told herself not to jump to conclusions. Give it time, she thought. Don't be dramatic. But her chest felt tight. The silence between them stretched longer than it should have. Lily searched her mind for something light to say, a joke, a comment about the cafe, anything to keep the moment alive. Nothing came, because deep down she already knew how this story ended. She had lived it too many times. Men liked her. They just never stayed. She was always the woman before the woman, the safe option, the temporary one, the one people dated until they found someone they truly wanted. Her friends told her she was kind, smart, beautiful, but kindness didn't stop people from leaving. The man across from her picked up his phone again. That was when something inside Lily cracked, not loudly, not dramatically, just enough. She stared down at the table, watching her reflection in the dark surface of her coffee. Her voice came out smaller than she expected, like it had been waiting years to escape. "No one ever chooses me." The words barely made a sound, but to Lily they felt deafening. The moment they left her mouth, regret rushed in. Her heart started pounding. She wanted to pull the words back, pretend she hadn't said anything, laugh it off like a joke. She hated vulnerability. Vulnerability had never been rewarded. She waited for the familiar reactions, the awkward smile, the uncomfortable silence, the gentle excuse that would soon turn into a polite goodbye. She didn't look up. She didn't want to see his face, but then something changed. The sound of the cafe seemed to fade, the clinking dishes, the quiet music, the background laughter, all of it softened, like the world had taken a step back. The man across from her stopped moving. She heard a soft click. He had placed his phone face down on the table. Lily's breath caught. She slowly lifted her eyes. He wasn't smiling anymore. He wasn't distracted. He was looking at her fully, deeply, like he had actually heard what she said. That scared her more than rejection ever had. For a moment, he said nothing. Lily felt exposed. Her hands trembled slightly as she tightened her grip around the cup. She had said too much. She knew it. She had broken the unspoken rule of first dates. Don't be honest, be impressive. Her heart prepared itself for the damage. Then the man leaned forward, not aggressively, not awkwardly, gently. His voice was calm, but it carried weight. "I know exactly what that feels like." Lily blinked. The words didn't register at first. She had expected anything but that. She searched his face for sarcasm, for pity, for discomfort. There was none, only understanding. He took a slow breath, as if choosing his next words carefully, not for himself, but for her. "I almost didn't come tonight," he admitted. "I figured. Why bother?" Lily swallowed. He continued, his eyes never leaving hers. "People don't usually choose someone like me either." Her heart skipped. He wasn't trying to impress her. He wasn't trying to sound strong. He was just telling the truth. And somehow, that truth wrapped around her pain and made it feel lighter. For the first time that night, maybe for the first time in years, Lily didn't feel invisible. She felt heard, and she had no idea that those 7 whispered words, "No one ever chooses me," had just started a story that would change both of their lives forever. Marcus hadn't planned to say anything that honest. In fact, he had promised himself he wouldn't. He had walked into the cafe with the same emotional armor he always wore: polite smile, calm posture, low expectations. Blind dates were easier that way. You show up, you talk, you leave, no attachments, no disappointment. But when Lily whispered those words, "No one ever chooses me," something inside him shifted. Marcus had heard many things in his life: complaints, excuses, small talk, surface-level laughter. But that sentence wasn't small, it wasn't casual, it wasn't something people said unless they were carrying years of quiet rejection, and he recognized it instantly, because he had said those same words before, just never out loud. He slowly turned his phone face down, not to be polite, but because suddenly nothing on that screen mattered. Emails could wait, messages could wait, this moment couldn't. He looked at Lily properly now, not as a date, not as an obligation, but as a person standing at the edge of something fragile. "I know exactly what that feels like," he said again, slower this time. The way her eyes lifted, cautious, unsure, told him how rarely anyone had responded to her pain instead of avoiding it. Marcus leaned back slightly, running a hand along his jaw. He felt exposed, but strangely calm. "I should probably tell you something," he said, "before this goes any further." Lily nodded, bracing herself. "I'm a single father." There it was, the sentence that usually changed everything. He watched her face carefully, prepared for the familiar shift: surprise, hesitation, polite interest fading into concern. He had seen it dozens of times, but Lily didn't interrupt him, so he continued, "My daughter is 7, her name is Ava." A small smile touched his lips despite himself. "She's smart, curious, asks too many questions before bedtime." Then his voice softened. "Her mother left when Ava was 2. Marcus paused. That part never got easier to say. She decided motherhood wasn't the life she wanted. And just like that, it was me and a toddler and a lot of nights where I pretended I wasn't terrified." Lily's eyes didn't leave his. He went on, words flowing now, like a door he had kept locked for too long had finally opened. "People say they admire me. They say I'm strong, responsible." He let out a quiet breath. "But admiration isn't the same as being chosen." That sentence hung between them. Marcus gave a small, bitter smile. "Most dates end the moment they realize I come with responsibilities, with limits, with a life that can't just drop everything for romance." He shrugged gently. "So yeah, I get passed over too." For a moment, neither of them spoke. The cafe noise returned: slowly, footsteps, distant laughter, the clink of cups. But at their table there was stillness. Lily felt something unfamiliar rise in her chest. Respect, not pity, not sympathy. "Respect, you stayed," she said quietly. Marcus looked at her. "You stayed," she repeated. "You didn't leave your daughter." He nodded once. Leaving was never an option. Something in Lily's expression changed then. The sadness was still there, but beneath it was something stronger: recognition. She understood him, and Marcus felt it. He hadn't realized how lonely that understanding had been missing from his life until now. "I didn't mean to make this heavy," he added. When you said what you said, I couldn't pretend anymore." Lily took a deep breath. "I've spent years pretending," she admitted. "Pretending I'm fine being overlooked. Pretending rejection doesn't hurt." Her voice trembled. "It does." Marcus nodded. "It always does." The honesty between them felt dangerous but also relieving. This wasn't flirtation. This was connection. Marcus glanced at the time, surprised to see how long they'd been sitting there. "If you want to leave," he said gently, "I understand." Lily shook her head immediately. "No," she said, "I don't want to leave." The certainty in her voice surprised even her. Marcus smiled, not the polite kind, but the kind that comes from relief. "Good," he said softly. For the first time in years, Marcus didn't feel like he was asking someone to accept his life. He felt like he was sharing it. And Lily didn't feel like she was auditioning to be loved. She felt like she had finally been invited to be herself. Neither of them knew it yet, but this was the moment everything changed, not because love had arrived, but because honesty had, and sometimes. That's where love begins. The conversation should have ended by now. The cafe lights had dimmed slightly, signaling closing time. Chairs scraped softly against the floor as other customers stood and left. Somewhere behind the counter, a worker yawned, but Lily and Marcus didn't notice any of it. They were still sitting there, facing each other, caught in a moment that felt too real to rush. Lily rested her hands on the table, no longer hiding them in her lap. Her shoulders relaxed for the first time that night. "I usually leave early," she admitted quietly. "I can tell when someone has already decided." Marcus nodded. "I do too. It hurts less that way." They shared a small, knowing smile, the kind only people with similar scars recognize. Lily took a breath. "I've spent so long wondering what's wrong with me," she said, "why I'm always the one people don't fight for." Her voice wavered. "I thought if I was nicer, quieter, more patient, someone would finally stay." Marcus felt a tightness in his chest. He had raised Ava to believe she never had to shrink to be loved, and here was a woman who had done exactly that. "There's nothing wrong with you," he said firmly. "Sometimes the people who pass us by just aren't meant to carry what we offer." Lily looked at him, surprised by the certainty in his voice. She let out a shaky laugh. "I wish I'd heard that years ago." Marcus smiled sadly. "Me too." For a moment, they sat in silence, not awkward, not empty. The kind of silence that feels full. Then Marcus spoke again. "Can I tell you something I don't usually say out loud?" Lily nodded. "There are nights," he began, "after Ava falls asleep, when I sit on the edge of her bed and wonder if I'm enough for her." His jaw tightened. If one parent can really do the work of two. Lily's heart softened. "You show up," she said gently. "That matters more than perfection." Marcus swallowed. No one had ever said that to him before. "I don't get to be tired," he continued. "I don't get to fall apart, because if I do, she has no one else." Lily reached forward without thinking and placed her hand over his. The contact was light, careful, but powerful. Marcus didn't pull away. In that moment, Lily wasn't touching a man. She was touching responsibility, fear, love, and he felt it too. Their eyes met, and something unspoken passed between them, not desire, not romance, but recognition. They were both tired of being strong alone. Marcus glanced down at their hands, then back up at her. "I don't want to rush anything," he said. "My life doesn't allow for chaos." Lily nodded. "Neither does mine." She paused. "But I don't want to walk away from something real just because it scares me." Marcus smiled, a real smile this time. "I was hoping you'd say that." The cafe manager approached gently. "We're closing up." They both laughed quietly, surprised. Outside, the night air was cool and calm. Streetlights cast soft glows across the sidewalk. They stood there awkwardly, neither quite ready to say goodbye. "I had a good time," Lily said, even though it wasn't normal. Marcus chuckled. "Especially because it wasn't normal." He hesitated, then said, "Would you like to see me again?" Lily didn't overthink it. Yes. The word felt steady, confident. Marcus's shoulders relaxed like he had been holding his breath for years. They exchanged numbers, fingers brushing briefly, a simple moment that somehow felt huge. As Lily walked to her car, she felt something unfamiliar rising in her chest. Hope. Not the fragile, desperate kind. The quiet kind, the kind that doesn't scream but stays. Marcus watched her leave, then exhaled slowly. For the first time since becoming a father, he didn't feel like love was something he had missed his chance at. He felt like it might be waiting patiently for the right moment. Neither of them knew what tomorrow would bring. But tonight, Two people who had felt overlooked for most of their lives had finally found someone willing to sit, listen, and stay. And sometimes, that's all it takes to change everything. Lily didn't realize how different love could feel until it stopped being about excitement and started being about presence. Dating Marcus wasn't like anything she had known before. There were no dramatic gestures, no constant texts, no rush to impress. Instead, there was consistency, quiet, steady, sometimes imperfect, but always honest. And that scared her more than anything else. Some nights, plans changed at the last minute. "I'm sorry," Marcus would say on the phone, exhaustion clear in his voice. "Ava has a fever. I can't leave her." Lily would pause, waiting for the familiar frustration to rise. "It never did, of course," she'd reply, "call me later." And he always did. He never disappeared, never made excuses. That was new. Still, Lily carried fear quietly. She had learned not to demand reassurance. She didn't want to be too much, didn't want to push him away, but Marcus noticed. "You get quiet sometimes," he said one evening. "I don't want to lose this," Lily admitted. "So I try not to need too much." Marcus stopped walking. He turned to her fully. "I don't want you small," he said gently. "I want you real." Those words stayed with her. A few weeks later, Marcus asked the question Lily both hoped for and feared. "Would you like to meet Ava?" Lily's heart skipped. She understood what that meant. This wasn't casual. This was trust. "Yes," she said softly. "I'd like that." They met at a park on a bright afternoon. The sun was warm, the sky clear as if the world itself had decided to be kind. Lily saw Ava before Ava saw her. The little girl was laughing, chasing bubbles, her curls bouncing as she ran. Marcus watched her with a softness Lily had never seen in him before. "That's her," he said quietly. Lily's chest tightened. Ava noticed them and ran over, stopping just short of Lily. She studied her carefully, curious, cautious, honest. "This is Lily," Marcus said. "She's someone special to me." Ava tilted her head. "Are you staying?" The question was simple, but it landed hard. Lily knelt down so they were eye to eye. "If your dad wants me to," she said gently. Ava smiled just a little and reached out her hand. Lily took it. That touch unlocked something deep inside her. She felt tears sting her eyes, but she held them back. Over time, Lily became part of their rhythm. Saturday pancakes, homework at the kitchen table, movie nights where Ava always fell asleep halfway through. Marcus didn't expect Lily to be perfect, and Lily didn't try to replace anyone. She simply showed up. One night, after Ava was asleep, Lily sat on the couch staring at the floor. "I'm scared," she admitted. Marcus looked at her. "Of what?" "Of loving something I could lose," she whispered. "Both of you." Marcus took her hands. "I won't promise you easy," he said, "but I promise you honesty and effort and staying." Lily nodded, tears falling freely now. "I've never had that," she said. Marcus pulled her into a quiet embrace, not rushed, not overwhelming, just safe. Weeks passed, then months, and Lily realized something slowly, gently, almost without noticing. She wasn't waiting for him to leave anymore. She believed he wouldn't. One evening, Ava climbed into Lily's lap and asked, "Can you come to my school thing tomorrow?" Lily froze, looking at Marcus. He smiled. "If you want to." "I do," Lily said. As Ava hugged her, Lily finally understood something she had never allowed herself to believe before. She wasn't borrowing someone else's happiness. She was building her own. For the first time in her life, Lily wasn't trying to earn a place in someone's world. She had been invited, and that changed everything. Lily didn't recognize the woman she had become, not because she was different on the outside, but because something inside her had finally settled. She no longer waited for the moment everything would fall apart. She trusted the quiet. 1 year had passed since that first night at the cafe. Marcus had changed too. He smiled more easily, laughed more freely. Ava noticed it before anyone else did. "You're happier." Ava told him one night. Marcus smiled. "So are you." But Marcus had been carrying something in his pocket for weeks now, something small, but heavy with meaning. The ring, he didn't want a grand stage, no crowds, no spectacle, he wanted meaning, so he chose the place where it all began, the cafe. When Lily walked in, she noticed the table immediately, the same corner, the same warm lights. Her heart skipped. "You remember?" she said softly. Marcus nodded. "How could I forget?" They sat, talked, laughed, but Lily sensed the nervous energy in him. His hands fidgeted, his voice caught slightly. "Is everything okay?" she asked. Marcus took a deep breath. "I've been thinking about something for a long time," he said. The cafe seemed to quiet around them. "I remember the first thing you ever said to me that mattered," he continued. "You didn't mean for me to hear it, but I did." Lily's breath caught. "No one ever chooses me," Marcus repeated gently, her eyes filled with tears. "You weren't asking for pity," he said. "You were telling the truth." Marcus reached into his pocket. "I've spent my life choosing responsibility," he said. "Choosing to stay when leaving would have been easier. Choosing my daughter every single day." He paused, his voice steady but emotional. "But choosing you." He smiled softly. "That was never a question." He stood up. People around them noticed now. Marcus dropped to one knee. "I choose you," he said clearly, "on hard days, on quiet days, on days when life doesn't feel fair." Lily covered her mouth, tears streaming freely. "I choose you when you're strong," he continued, "and when you're scared." He opened the box. "Will you let me choose you for the rest of my life?" For a moment Lily couldn't speak. All she could see were memories of being overlooked, replaced, forgotten. Of nights she cried wondering why she wasn't enough, and now here she was, chosen. "Yes," she whispered, then louder through tears and laughter, "yes." Applause filled the cafe, but Lily barely heard it. Marcus slipped the ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly. Later that night, Ava waited at home, pretending she wasn't nervous. "So?" she asked as soon as they walked in. Marcus knelt beside her. "What do you think?" Ava looked at Lily's hand. Her face lit up. "You said yes," she asked Lily. Lily knelt down and hugged her gently. "I did, if that's okay with you." Ava wrapped her arms around Lily tightly. "Good," she said. "I already chose you." That night, as Lily lay in bed beside Marcus, she whispered the words that had once haunted her. "I spent so long believing I was unchosen." Marcus kissed her forehead. "You were never unchosen. You were just waiting for someone who knew how to stay." Lily smiled through quiet tears. For the first time in her life, love didn't feel like something she had to earn. It felt like something she had been given, and that made all the difference. Sometimes, the people who feel invisible the longest are the ones whose love changes everything once someone finally chooses them.